Siomra beag.
Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to On Siomra Beag. Welcome back to the Tiny Room. I am the Michael of Michaelandbenjaminspodcast, your weekly pop culture, movies, TV shows, and comic book podcast. And I am joined by the man who is known as the creepiest creep in all of Irish podcasting. It's Benjamin.
Hello. That was as creepy as I could manage on short notice. That hurt my feelings a little bit, Michael.
I bloody got you right where it hurts.
Yeah, got me right where it hurts. The one thing that I'm terrified of becoming.
Benjamin, we're sitting slightly further away than usual today.
Miles away.
So far, we can just barely touch fingertips.
Awful.
Yeah. The theme music?
Theme music for the podcast. We don't actually have any theme music.
Very good. Very amusing. Benjamin, it is the week of Halloween.
Ooh.
And yeah, we'll talk about spooky things.
Very spooky.
Look at the waveform on that Halloween.
You got some serious oomph.
Yeah,
a lot of bass going on there.
Benjamin.
Yes.
The spookiest thing we saw this week was the bloody trailer for Bloodshot.
Spooky in the sense of it just being a horrific portent of what Hollywood's to become.
Benjamin, the trailer opens with the phrase, based on the best-selling comic. It leaves out best on the... I did a good joke there, but I've ruined it.
You did well.
It leaves out based on the best-selling but not good comic.
Yeah.
Bloodshot.
It is edgelord, the movie. It has all those kind of classic tropes. It's exactly why people read Bloodshot, though. It's like, I'm a man of honor.
I'm going to punch this guy in the head.
I'm going to punch this guy in the head.
It's me, Vin Diesel.
It's Vin Diesel.
He's not white, though.
He's not white. Not at all. He probably will have red eyes at some point, because I bet that Vin Diesel didn't even read the comic. He's just like, he has red eyes.
I don't want to be that guy.
I want to be that guy.
I doubt that. I think Vin Diesel's a pretty big nerd. I'd say he probably read it.
Probably.
Isn't he a D&D guy?
It's not a good comic, though.
Well, isn't it?
Well, for those of you who don't know what Bloodshot is, you can check out our Collecting Issues episode on just that topic.
Yeah, we did the collecting issues on it.
Synergy.
Benjamin, the trailer, in the great tradition of Hollywood trailers, has given away the whole film.
Yep, the whole film is very, very clear. He is a soldier, possibly,
yes.
which is very close to possibly in Iraq,
Afghanistan,
in a sandy part of the world.
Yes.
And it looks like, Michael, he's only gone and got himself killed in combat.
Ben, I'd be willing to bet that he hasn't. I'd be willing to bet that he has been killed so they could enter him into the Bloodshot program.
He's been poached.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And he's been manipulated from top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I find it interesting that Guy Pearce is starring as the antagonist in a Memento-style movie.
Yes, very interesting,
which
isn't
I'm quite looking forward to.
It looks like Memento, but as an action film and not backwards.
Yes, it's Memento forward.
They've stolen Memento's plot twist, revealed it in the trailer, and then taken any possible sting out of the twist by having it be in chronological order.
Look, it was a weird choice. It was you could have done that trailer without the big twist, and you would have had an interesting twist in the cinema.
Yep. Hello? Sorry? Yeah. No. This is a phone, Ben.
Oh, okay.
You want to speak to Ben? Yeah, Ben. It's 2004. They're calling because they want their Johnny Cash theme music back.
Fair enough, I'll take that. Yeah, sorry lads. Look, it's wherever the money is, you know yourselves. So we have it's just not even a good rendition. That'll get me in trouble.
That'll get you in trouble with Johnny Cash fans, Ben. I was very careful about saying that Johnny Cash as the theme music for a song is a bit dated, but I think it's covered.
What I'm surprised they didn't do is the Hollywood staple of taking a classic song and turning it into a strange, haunting melody to use as a refrain, because they do that all the time now in every trailer that you ever see.
Well, you don't have to do that if Johnny Cash has already done it for you.
Yeah, that's true. It's not that haunting though.
It's pretty haunting.
It's kind of jaunty at a certain point.
Memories are made of explosions.
Big explosions in Vin Diesel's rage.
I think Vin Diesel has wanted to play Bloodshot for a very long time.
Has he?
I think he's been attached to this concept for a very long time.
Oh, okay.
He's just, hey, I'll punch a man.
I don't look anything like the character, but I can do it.
Yeah, I'll jump out. See how he jumped out? He's fighting Dr. Octopus, and then he jumps out of the building.
He does the classic. It's the Vin Diesel jump. Yeah.
Hey, The Rock, I can jump out of a building and fight a man on a lift as well.
Do it, no problem.
Doesn't
Do
matter
you
that
think he secretly has that competition with everything he says, where he's just on his phone to his agent going, I won't do that?
I don't think it's secret. Wasn't there?
Yeah, there was
remember
a
we were
whole
talking about the point system in Fast and Furious,
There's
where
a whole spat.
for each one who got a punch in, the other one had to get a tax of equal value.
Ridiculous.
The Chronicles of Ridiculous.
You were right though. I liked how your brain was putting that
See how
together
it was
as you
going?
go.
It was Riddick. The Chronicles of Riddick. There are some Riddicky looking moments as well. So if you enjoyed a Riddick, you'll like where he fights the goons
Where
in
he's
the
a
red
big
light.
dark badass.
Yeah.
For
Ben,
some bizarre reason, Winston from New Girl is playing a British person.
is that Winston from New Girl?
Winston from New Girl.
I did not put that together.
One of the interesting things is Hollywood seems to never learn that British people can play Americans all they want, but when you make an American play a British accent, it doesn't work.
Unless it's Don Cheadle in Ocean's 11, Governor.
All right, it's
gonna blow up the doors and whatnot, and Governor.
they do the worst job ever.
There's 60 million English people then.
Well, I mean, you could say that about all the English people that play Americans, but English actors are generally classically trained.
The thing about it is, as well, America is such a wide range of accents that you don't have to get it spot on, because they're not generally playing an exact accent.
No, they can avoid it.
Other than our boy Driss, who is a master of the, what was it? Baltimore, the poor Baltimore accent. He was very good at that.
Impoverished, socioeconomically disadvantaged Baltimore.
Disadvantaged Baltimore. As opposed to, like, say, Hugh Laurie, who's just doing it. I'm a generic American.
I'm an asshole.
I'm a generic.
So is everybody else.
My
so
leg is sore, but that guy's got the plague.
Wow. Well, does he? Does he?
Has he got the plague?
Has he got the plague, or is he faking? Because I'm a cynic.
And he's a nymphomaniac.
And then once a season, we have an episode where a house is wrong. And he
but
has to
it turns
reflect.
out it's a dream.
On other counts, I do like Hugh Laurie, so sorry about that, Hugh.
What are we doing? How did we
moving
get
on
from
from there.
Bloodshot to that?
We're going to have to go see that
yeah.
one way or the other, because we've done so many Bloodshot-related things.
We'll have to go see it several times. Oh, no, Ben, I've just realised it's also a time loop movie, kind of.
Dun, dun,
So we'll have to do another time loop episode.
Oh, no, fuck that.
You were so confused last time. It was very amusing.
Michael,
Ben, you've got the running order in front of you, not me. So you're going to have to do the segues
last
this
week
week.
you and I took a look at a comic staple. We literally opened up one of the comics and pulled out one of the staples that held it together and analysed it under a microscope.
Yeah, fell apart.
Fascinating look at. No, we looked at Watchmen, Michael, by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons.
We Watches of the Watchmen.
We Watches the Watchmen is the name of the episode. Very funny. Very funny people, Michael. Anyway, the bloody series dropped that evening. Stop it.
The series dropped that evening.
The series dropped that evening. You have seen it.
Yes.
I have not.
No.
Let's go.
Bone Idol. Ben, did you enjoy it?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, Ben.
Variety called it.
Variety called it a stone cold classic. I saw it, Ben. I watched it with my good lady friend.
Off you pop now. Go on. Are we doing spoilers?
We'll avoid spoilers for the first couple of minutes, and then we'll get into spoilers.
Oh, classic.
And I've also spoken about it with good friend of the pod, Shane.
Oh, he's a good friend of the pod, isn't he?
Yeah. Also your arch nemesis, but a good friend of the pod. And
he's kind of lost his status as my arch nemesis on account of being so lovely.
Yeah,
a lot of the time we spent time together.
You haven't been on the Twitter recently.
No, I never go near Twitter.
Don't look at the Twitter. Look,
God.
he'll stab you in the back as soon as I look at you. some good ones though this week. Look, check it out at Podcast Wanker. Anyway, Ben.
Go on.
It's very good. It's a good, intriguing world. It's incredibly well shot and acted.
Does it suck you in, Michael?
It does. It sucks you right in there. The costumes are great. It's a very interesting. It follows on from the comic book. You could watch the movie and let it follow on from that. Other than, I don't know how relevant the ending is going to be. There are squid in this, but there's no overt reference to the ending that would confuse you if your reference point was the movie.
Okay.
And the two are similar enough that
almost exactly the same, apart from a possibly better ending in the movie.
And there are no characters in the series from the movie so far.
Oh.
You see where I'm going?
Oh.
So far, no characters.
Oh, I didn't see that coming.
There's the reference to Rorschach, obviously,
The
because
Mask.
there's the 7th Cavalry.
Is that what they're called?
They're called the 7th Cavalry.
Is that a Confederate thing?
Yes, they're kind of racist.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Kind of only. No, they are. Well, they're anti-government.
Oh, they're like Tea Partiers.
A bit more violent.
Donald Trump supporters.
You could argue. I'm not going to, but you could.
I'll do it. I don't mind.
But the police are also very conservative and heavy-handed in this. But even though the police are the good guys, this is a weird show. It's very much, Ben. It's Watchmen,
Right.
but it's about blacks and whites.
Oh,
That's a lot of it.
just like Rorschach's mask.
Is about a lot more of this is about racial tension than was in any Watchmen.
Well, I think
before.
that was inevitable in some form, wasn't it?
America.
That America and how it's
They're
grown.
just mad for the old racism.
It is actually shocking. There's such a multicultural place with so many immigrants as backgrounds.
But
We don't like them because they don't look the same as us.
They're always fighting about racism. But it opens, Ben, with a poor man, but a poor white man, being pulled over by a policeman.
Oh no.
And in this universe, Ben, the police wear masks to protect their identities because the police are so hated that they have to protect their identities. You can't publicly tell people you're a member of the police.
Oh, that's so weird.
So, yeah, they wear masks. So a policeman pulls over a hillbilly, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "What's going on here, Mr. Billy?" And the man's like, "I'm just delivering lettuce." And there's a bit of tension. And it looks like a classic reversal of, we think the cop might shoot the unarmed white guy.
But it's actually...
The cop is a black guy in this.
Ah, okay.
So it looks like a black cop is going to shoot a poor unarmed white guy. And he goes back to his car. In this universe, the police can't draw their guns without a release from the station.
Oh.
So they have to call the station and say, "I think this guy's a bad egg. Unlock my holster."
Please.
Yeah, so he can get the gun. And then while he's talking, the guy shoots him.
Oh, he gets hillbillied.
Yeah, he gets hillbillied by the man. And then the whole time you go, "Oh my God, race relations are upside down in this whole thing." That's not the opening scene. Sorry, the opening scene is the race riots in Tulsa in 1921.
1921?
Yeah, so it's the Ku Klux Klan killing the most prosperous black town in America.
Oh, that's uncomfortable.
Look, it's a very racially
Driven
story. But even though it's racially driven, it still fits in the Watchmen universe. There are masked vigilantes, if not directly on the cops' payroll, they're
augmenting the police force.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah.
yeah.
So you have what's his name? One of my favorite guys, the guy who played Samuel Stearns in The Hulk. He played that little creepy guy in the TV show Chaos.
Oh,
you know the guy I'm talking about.
I know exactly who you're talking about. Oh, no. It's not Donald. Tim Blake Nelson.
Tim Blake Nelson is in it.
Tim Blake
and
Nelson.
He plays one of the masked vigilantes
Love
called
Tim Blake Nelson.
Mirror Face or something like that.
Yeah.
And he seems to be... He's a masked vigilante in the style of a Rorschach or something, but he's a deep south guy with a big handlebar mustache, and
nice.
his speciality seems to be interrogation.
I'd watch that.
It's pretty good. There's a guy in a red tracksuit, and he's Russian, and he's called the Red Terror, I think. Oh. And he just has like a wrestler's mask and a red tracksuit and an AK-47. Look. That's his vigilante.
Sure, look.
Yeah, it's Don Johnston is in it.
As Don Johnston.
As Don Johnston. He plays Nash Bridges, Chief of Police.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
In the Watchmen universe. We'll get into spoilers in a minute, but he's also very good. And Ben, here come the spoilers. Do you want some spoilers now?
Here come the spoilers.
Go ahead. Here come the spoilers for Watchmen. He's killed at the end of the first episode.
Oh.
But I suspect, I'm sure you've heard the story that, you might have even told me the story that Jeffrey Dean Morgan, when he saw the script for Watchmen, he turned down the role of comedian because he saw he died on the first 3 pages.
Yes.
And then they told him, no, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I know it's hard for you, chomping on your cigars and doing pull-ups, but read the rest of it. You're actually in the film. You're very
Quite
important.
Quite a bit.
So I think we're going to find out about Don Johnstone's past, and I don't think he's out of the series.
He's just out of this continuity.
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, well, that'll do it.
The story's going to be, who killed him? Why did they kill him? And I suppose when it boils down to it, isn't that what Watchmen is, really?
Well, that's all it is. It's a murder mystery.
Yeah, and Watchmen, the comic, was a murder mystery.
With bigger stakes.
With big stakes. Well, I mean, a murder mystery that gradually reveals itself to have big stakes, meanwhile breaking down the genre of comic books. Perhaps, Ben, in an amazingly ideal world, this will be a murder mystery which turns out to have bigger stakes, breaking down the conventions of genre TV.
Racism.
racism, genre. But I mean, isn't that what Watchmen was?
Well, that's what
Watchmen
it's supposed to be.
Watchmen was a reflection of its time.
Yes. Well, let's
And-
hope this does now a reflection of its time.
That's what I'm saying, Ben.
Let's keep some fingers crossed,
you,
huh?
You son of a...
Yeah, fucking son
But
of
it's
a bitch.
it's very good. And Laurie Blake is to be in the second episode, Silk Spectre.
Silk Spectre.
But she has gone on to become an FBI lady,
Ooh.
not a vigilante anymore.
Ooh.
And in the teaser for the upcoming weeks, there was a very brief glimpse of a blue hand. Was it a Dr. Manhattan? Or
Probably
was it
not.
just a man
It's
with
good-
blue hands?
It's a good blue herring.
Blue
It's a good blue herring.
herrings are blue, naturally.
Are they?
Yeah, it's just called a herring. Bluish. The teal.
Teal herring.
Yeah.
Ben's favourite type of herring.
Anyway, Ben, I will watch it and I will update you bi-weekly.
Because I won't.
Do you not think you can watch it?
No, I probably will.
I think you should watch it, Ben.
I'll probably go home and watch that first episode when I get home.
There's a nun in it. She's like a badass, kick-ass.
Sounds like a
vigilante.
sexy nun.
She's kind of sexy.
Yeah, you
She's
hooked
a
me in.
little bit sexy.
You hooked me in.
She'll kick you in the head and then
Whoop.
throw you in her boot
Oh,
or trunk
Friday night for Ben, huh?
for her American friends.
Trunk.
You just laughing at the word trunk? What
It's just
what
such a
maturity.
strange word.
Benjamin, speaking of segues, what's next
Yes.
on this list that you've written and I haven't? You've done that's next week's episode.
Yeah, just
Why
go
is
to the other side because I wrote it in the wrong order. Just stop being a baby
Watermelon.
and read it. Watermelon. Yeah, Watchmen.
Oh no,
is what it
Watchmen.
was.
Ben, speaking of Netflix, there's another thing that was out this week.
No, we're not doing that until next week.
I told you not to write it there then, you son
I
of
put
a...
a pin in it.
Oh, God. God
What we're
damn
talking
it.
about next is, speaking of sexy ladies,
Oh, yeah.
bloody Catwoman's been cast in the Matt Reeves Batman
oh,
movie.
very good. Who is it, Ben?
And it's my all-time favourite, Zoe bloody Kravitz. Formative experience. Kravitz.
In what sense was Zoe Kravitz... Now, Ben, keep this family friendly, but what role did Zoe Kravitz appeal to you in?
No, she didn't really, but
Just
I just like to
as-
call her that because, you know, I'm mad into Zoe Kravitz.
You're mad for Zoe Kravitz,
Very
are you?
sexy, very alternative.
I think it's pronounced cravats.
Cravats. Huh?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
She's
but okay.
made of like men's
She's made of
formal
men's
wear.
silk and formal wear.
Yeah, Zoe Kravitz.
Well, she is in my book, Michael. She just seems great.
very, very silky, Ben.
The first time I think I saw Zoe Kravitz correctly was probably in the X-Men Origins film. Where
Oh,
she
yeah,
plays
where
the
she played
sexy pixie
Angel.
lady. And she's bloody great. She's very attractive.
Good. I think we did talk about this.
We probably did. Look, so we're doing it again now because it's important. Michael inappropriately gave me some inspiration for a Photoshop project at one point.
I did.
All the while I was working. And I was just like, oh, that's inappropriate.
Yeah,
Oh, that's also inappropriate.
Yeah.
I thought something was gone wrong with the amount of messages I was getting from Michael.
I was just sending you sexy photos of Zoe Kravitz.
That something awful had happened. Nope. There's sexy versions of Zoe Kravitz, and then one sexy version of Michael's little crush, bloody what's Megan Good as a sexy cat lady.
She was a sexy cat lady too.
She was Catwoman in Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman costume from 1992's Batman Returns, which just revs mixed motor.
Why are we talking about this?
I know. Just, you know,
You've closed the book, so we don't know what the
Content.
next thing is.
all right. All right. Moving on from there, because we've already talked about it, even though we both had a serious meeting before this and said, no, we definitely didn't talk about it, but we did. The Immortal Hulk,
Oh yeah.
issue number 25.
Oh yeah.
Or
Mm-hmm.
Jumping the Cosmic Shark.
Do you think so?
Nah. He'll
Well,
be
Ben-
fine. He'll pull it back. But it's gotten very big. Michael.
Give us a brief summarization of the Immortal Hulk episode 25.
Immortal Hulk 75 follows a space civilization that we are unfamiliar with in the
Mhm.
Marvel Universe, preparing for some kind of cataclysm.
Yes.
And it's a hyper-advanced race that does kind of biotechnological experiments to breed new...
They seem to be the last living creatures in
Yeah.
the universe.
They seem to have survived longer than anybody else.
Yeah.
And they are traversing the darkness of space.
Yeah.
Prepping for a cataclysm of some kind. An unmaker, I think is what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
And they've
And
come up with it.
You're thinking, Ben, it's Galactus.
You're thinking it's Galactus because that's traditionally who it is. Norin Rad's the Silver Surfer. What's his name?
Galen.
Galen Galactus. Bloody Mr. Galactus to you.
Galen MacGalactus.
And you're given an awful lot of hints that it might be him, but Michael,
What is it?
it's only bloody not.
It's not him. Who is it?
It's the Immortal Hulk, Michael. Well,
Yeah.
technically it's not the Immortal Hulk at all. It's the one below all.
Yeah.
In Cosmic Hulk form. At the end of issue 24 of the Immortal Hulk, spoiler alert, we find out that basically the Immortal Hulk seems to become the most powerful being in the universe.
Yeah.
He eats Metatron, which is the voice of Metatron. Can't remember. He eats a representation of the one above all.
Does he?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
At the end of issue 24, he's in space, and the Thing comes to visit him and ask him what kind of person he'll be. And he turns into a big evil Hulk thing and devours him.
That was at the end of the universe, wasn't it?
Yeah. And he says, "How did you do it?" And he goes like this, and
Nom,
he
nom,
transforms
nom, nom,
into
nom.
a big nom kind of guy, and eats him. But anyway, we come across bloody Cosmic Hulk, and Cosmic Hulk is a real bad egg.
Yeah.
The final form of the One Below All is revealed, and in traditional Immortal Hulk style, very unsettling image. Lots of
horrific.
body parts,
Hands
screaming
and faces.
faces in flesh.
Yeah. Don't want it. Get it away from me.
It's some tough stuff. It's a very ambitious issue, Michael.
It is, isn't it?
I don't know if it was as good as I was hoping it would be.
Here's the thing about it. As I said on Instagram, Ben, it proves the notion that when you have a stone cold runaway hit on your hands, every mad idea you've had in the back of your head for years, you can just let them out.
Yeah.
Because this, Ben, betrays, I think, and betrays is a strong word, and I might rescind it in a second. But it betrays what this series started as, which was a return to the Hulk's origins as a horrible nighttime monster.
He's grown into something far beyond
Now
any
he's
Hulk that we've seen before.
Squishing suns between his hands and existing as an entity outside time. Madness, Ben.
Yeah, it's a whole new kind of...
Absolute lunacy.
It's a whole new bag.
Do you think... Oh, a little footsie. Do you think it might just... do you think it might just be a one-shot?
I think it is a one. I think this is in the tradition of Marvel at the end of the universe kind of gigs.
Yeah.
We've seen it a couple of times with Cosmic Ghost Rider. What happened to Frank Castle? Thanos has his own version of that.
Old King Thor.
The Maestro, who is
Maestro,
evil Hulk in the future.
Bloody
Old Man Logan.
Phoenix
Wolverine. We get these every once in a while. Sometimes they crop up again. Like Phoenix Wolverine crops up again in the Infinity War.
Well, Phoenix Wolverine was Jason Aaron.
Yeah, and he came back, and then he was used again with the Time baseball bat, which I was doing a bit of reading about this week. Oh, fascinating. Jason Aaron just does whatever he wants.
He does whatever he wants
because he's and hopefully soon,
go on,
the wonderful writer of Immortal Hulk, it looks like he's on his journey to doing whatever he wants.
I'm going to do whatever I want.
Because I'm making the big bucks.
I want to do a thing about genderless beings.
Yeah.
In space.
In space.
And they're the last ones.
They look like colourful plastic spoons with dresses.
They're spoons with dresses, and they don't like the Hulk because he's huge now. And 3 of them to make a baby. And you're not going to believe this. It's the end of the universe.
Not at all.
And they're like, all right, Al.
All right,
calm down, mate.
All right, Mr. Ewing.
Yeah, look, you've made a bit of money, so you can do whatever you want.
You've had enough cold medicine, so you can just put it down now.
You can do whatever you want now. And his hands are faces, and his faces are hands.
All right, Al.
Well, that's enough.
Okay. To be fair, Grant Morrison has made an entire career of, I'm going to do this with him.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, oh, okay, Grant, just put the knife down. Put the Chaos Scepter down.
Oh. Stop spunking onto a towel, which you're then going to use to curse Ben.
Jim Lee, editor-in-chief of Marvel, is like, how did you get into my house again?
Is Jim Lee
Grant,
editor-in-chief of Marvel?
But for the purposes of this bit.
Isn't in unrelated news to my Al Ewing impression, isn't that's now the Al Ewing impression going forward.
What, just your
his
voice?
Faces are hands and his hands are faces. And there's people in space.
Al Ewing is just a man who has mixed alcohol and cold medicine together.
He's very big. And then he's very small. And he'll punch a moon. He'll punch a moon as soon as he'd look at it. I won't have any moons. Not in this day. What am I doing, Ben? This is not good podcast.
Al Ewing is from Kerry.
Yeah, he's from Kerry. He's fucking mad as a brush. He hates moons.
That's bloody Alan Ewing from up on the farm there. Anyway.
Alan McEwing. He's related to Galen McElectus.
What are we doing this
What are we doing? What am I talking about?
So from one big
sorry. Hold on. Before you segue. Did you see that Kevin Feige is overall creative director of Marvel now?
That's what I do.
They basically got rid of Loeb. They've got rid of Perlmutter.
Good.
They've got rid of all of them. He's large and in charge of everything now.
The Mac Daddy.
Yeah. Probably he'll be the last surviving Marvel writer at the end of the universe.
Probably. And I'd still watch his movies because he's a little bit better than everybody else.
He will absorb all of the other stories into him, and people will never tell a story because, like, if you tell a story, Kevin Feige can show up
and absorb you into his soul.
You.
Yeah.
And everyone will have no stories, and it'll be just dull and grey and lifeless.
Oh no! What? One thing they did.
I'm Al Ewing.
What's the little thing that they grow? The little baby thing. Is it like a virus to get the Hulk? I can't.
No, I think it's a time traveling thing.
Oh, okay. It didn't
dawn
dawn
on
on
me.
me.
Send it back in time and say, "Don't become the Hulk, you son of a bitch."
Yeah, don't go doing that shenanigan.
He's so big.
So weak. Anyway, from one big spooky scary being to another big spooky scary being, as Michael pointed out, ladies and gentlemen, it is the spooky season.
Ooh.
Filled with skeletons and other zombies and all kinds of things,
witches.
And so we're only in the birthplace of that very holiday here, Michael, now today.
Kerry.
No.
Ben.
We don't call it Halloween, Michael.
Yes, we do.
No, we don't.
I do.
No, we don't. You didn't go to a Gael school for 18 years, you fucking life. You can't get back.
No, I didn't. What do you call it?
Ihauna.
Oh, no one calls it that.
Ihauna is Borean Brack.
Translate, Ben.
Borean Brack is a little kind of cakey thing that you have as a tea brack, and inside it is a ring.
Yeah, what does the ring do?
But he sits in your finger.
Oh, very good. It doesn't bind 9 other rings or anything
No,
of the
there's
sort.
nothing like that, no.
Oh,
Be a bit dodgy if we were handing out ancient prophecy rings in every bit of Borean Brack that we had. But look, Ihauna is a big occasion here, or Halloween, that everybody else calls it. And the Halloween that you might know, if you're not from Irlanda, is probably the Americanized version of it.
Get out of here, America.
Where we got all the movies, because all of us went to bloody emigrated over to that America.
Yeah.
And didn't we take our traditions so that we could keep them alive when we were over there? Halloween.
Dressing up.
Alcoholism.
Racism. Towards and against.
Yes. Slave labor-like conditions. You know, the whole thing.
It's a whole gang of them. It was just melting pot.
Great times. But anyway, we decided we'd take a look because Americans don't seem to understand where it comes from. And they're much more into it. Now, Halloween in America is like, watch out, someone's going to give marijuana candy to your kids. Be vigilant this Halloween. And everyone's like, I'm not
Where are
giving
your goddamn Rorschach masks? Here comes Al Ewing.
And
again.
all those people are there going, no, nobody's giving away our weed edibles.
Let's get this started then, Ben, by you answering the very simple question, what even is Halloween?
Halloween's a pagan festival, Michael. Samhain, Samhain. Samhain is the harvest festival that we have. It is the end of the summery months, the warmer months. Yeah. We'd harvest the crops. Yeah. We'd take the cows down from the higher up pastures where they keep cool during the summer months. Yeah. And we execute our livestock and store them for the winter.
Have you used execute on purpose there? You know execute's the wrong word.
Well,
they haven't committed treason, Ben.
Slaughter.
You, Sir Mooingsworth, stand accused of treason against your king. How do you plead? Execute him.
That's a confession. They slaughter the cows and store the meat for them cold winter months.
It would have been pigs, really, wouldn't it? And goats and stuff, not so much cows.
No, they wouldn't have done it with cows because cows gave us milk, Michael, and we needed the milk to keep on going. So it would have been the smaller livestock, your sheeples. And your pigs and stuff like that. So we'd have a nice stock of meat for the winter when it was bloody nippy.
And then, Ben, what did they do with all the bones?
Well, Michael.
Yeah.
Oscailge. Yeah. Because we're going to have a lot of that today. Tinnacanov, Mihal. Tinnacanov, which is a weird name for a bone fire. Tinnacanov, Tinna being fire in Gaelic and Canov being bone. And they chucked them all in a fire.
A bonfire?
They done and lit them up. A bonfire, Michael. And if you were a drunken Irishman, I'd say, light a bonfire. Bonfire. Let it now. And that's where we got bonfire from, Michael. That is absolutely not the etymology of where we got bonfire from. No, it is.
Apart from the drunken thing.
Apart from the drunken part. That's the part that is not an accurate representation. But more importantly, in a pagan sense, Michael, those were some of the very practical aspects of the Halloween festival. But in a more mythological, symbolic sense,
spiritual,
the bloody veil, Michael,
the veil between realities,
bloody wafery, Michael. Very very thin, and this is the night when all the fae and the she and the spooky, scary skeletons
and ghosts
slip on through the veil and they can come and visit. And that's a good thing sometimes. Other times it's a terrible thing, Michael. It's very spooky, very spooky. But to us, that's what it is. Originally what would happen is, another strange part of that ritual is where we get the costume dressing up end of things is, you would have gentlemen who dressed up as spirits and came around your house and did now a collection of the monies. I'm not really sure what it was for.
Well, there are a few different Celtic traditions spread across Ireland, Scotland, Wales. Souling is
go
where
on.
people would come around and collect soul cakes.
Oh,
So the rich would make cakes, and then the poor would knock house to house for.
good of them.
But, it all comes back to. It's getting into winter and food's running out and
Pantry,
it's
please.
hard times. So
Yeah.
the rich have more money, so the poor would go knocking on doors, collecting souls, and they would often dress as wild, loose souls.
Yeah, because
So they'd be ghosts. The classic sheet ghost.
the sheet ghost.
They would be sheet ghosts, and they go, "Ooh, I'm a spooky ghost. Give me a soul, or I will take your soul." And they would go, "All right, here,
Jesus Christ.
fuck's sake, these fucking kids."
Bloody Al Ewing's been on the cold medicine again.
And then in Ireland we had guising,
Which is, go on.
where people would dress up, basically. It's
In a disguise.
in a disguise, and it would be adults and kids.
Oh.
And adults would often dress up as kind of troop leaders or something, and they'd hide their identities with some sort of mask.
Fun for all the
And
family.
then, if you want to see some horrific, bloody scary
I've seen
masks,
this before.
you go to the bloody Museum of Country Life in Ireland and you have a look at some of those 18th century masks.
Oh, they're real bad, are they?
They look like cowboy masks. Like a cowboy would wear to cover the bottom of his face, like a bandana, but all over the face with the eyes cut out and then lips drawn on.
Oh, God.
Oh, no good. No good. Ooh. So, I think the idea that we invented dressing up as scary things to scare spirits, I think that might be apocryphal. I'm not sure if that's
Michael,
true.
You wash that word out of your mouth.
From my limited reading on the subject, Ben.
Your limited reading is probably better than my 6-hour intensive reading. In fairness, your attention span is much more finesse than mine.
But, Ben, it also gave us... So the whole idea of dressing up, particularly as spooks or spirits or
Can you
or...
use that word, Michael?
You can.
We have American listeners.
You can use it. It just
we don't
means a
dress up
spooky
as spooks.
ghost. We do.
Nobody's
It's a
dressing
spooky
up as
ghost.
spooks in Ireland.
Spook, Ben, has 3 meanings. The first meaning is a ghost. The second meaning is a spy. And the third meaning is the racist one that you are jumping to. I am using the first and the second one. Sometimes they dressed up as
You don't get to
CIA
choose how
operatives.
people perceive you.
Yes, you do. So yeah, you could dress up as a spook.
We
So-
here at the Michael and Benjamin's podcast
It's
join with other strict anti-racist people in saying, Justin Trudeau, do not take that as an excuse to go and paint your face black
What's
again.
Look, he painted his face brown.
No,
It was brown.
it's blackface. Doesn't matter. Can't do
but
it.
it was physically brown. It was the 80s.
Don't.
Fine back then.
That's not an excuse.
It
Don't
was fine.
listen to my co-host on this particular
It was
occasion.
fine in the 80s.
I enjoyed that you make fun of me every week for being slightly racist and whatnot as humour,
Yeah.
and then you just come out and say the most racist things.
There's nothing racist about what I've said.
Yeah.
What have I said?
You said it was fine in the 80s.
Yeah, no, not good now. I don't think he'd do it now.
It was never good.
He didn't know. People didn't know.
It was never good.
You can't hold the Okay, let's have a. Okay, Michael and Benjamin's podcast is becoming a debate about if
The ethics of blackface.
No, not the ethics of blackface. The ethics of if things in the past should be judged by modern standards.
Well, you love this game.
Well, let's play the game.
Go
Do you
on,
want to play the game? Or are we talking about Halloween?
Game, then.
You son of a bitch. So you could dress as a spook. You could dress as a skeleton. You could dress up as a bloody some sort of spirit.
Some sort
Or
of spooky
demon.
spirit thingy.
Ben, tell us about, though, basically what we're doing here is we're getting into the idea that a lot of the Halloween monsters and goblins and famous Halloween characters directly basically come and are influenced by ancient Celtic traditions of Samhain.
By our lovely Ireland.
For example, Ben, one of the most famous Halloween characters of all times is one Michael Myers.
Do.
Exactly,
Yeah.
very good. And Michael Myers, obviously he killed on Halloween, so there's that direct reference. But Michael Myers, his costume, famously, Ben, you'd no doubt know what Michael Myers' costume was made from.
Yes, it's the William Shatner.
It's a William Shatner
mask.
Star Trek mask painted white and with the eye holes widened and mechanics overalls.
Yeah.
But he really looks like what Irish kids and adults dressed like
Back in the day.
at
I'm
Ihawan
going to have to look this up.
back
now.
in the day.
You spin your wheels.
You know,
there.
he's just got a spooky white mask on, and he's this scary monster thing. He's not anyone specific. He's just the scary thing. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
So, I mean, he really is one of the ones that, to me, draws a lot of influence from. He would not exist without the Celtic tradition, is what I'm saying there.
I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Tell us about
That's not an old Irish Halloween costume. First thing that comes up is a fucking sexy leg.
Look, Ben, I tell you what, the poor Irish in the 18th century certainly did not invent the sexy barmaid Halloween costume.
I think it's probably more like these creepy little fuckers here.
Yeah, they're the lads. I mean, don't they look like a young Michael Myers in many ways?
Topical.
Don't show me blackface, Ben. Do not show me pictures of blackface, please.
Look at that.
I know, isn't it spooky?
Terrifying. They look so unhappy. That comes from, it's those simple faces of triangles and geometric shapes that come from the old pumpkin themselves, Michael.
Go on.
Sure, bloody pumpkin carving comes from an old Irish story as well, Michael.
Do you want to hit us there, Ben?
Well, I'm going to have to, because that's kind of what I was lining myself up for.
Oh, right.
But
Very
yeah, in general...
Or do you want to argue about whether past generations should be held to the standards of present generations? I'm arguing.
I don't know what's wrong with Mick today. I haven't figured it out yet.
Let's go for it.
Anyway. Irish mythology and Irish stories have a lot to do with... we personify a lot of what would traditionally be huge concepts. So death and the devil and God on occasion, but less so God, because you can't be messing around and putting God in as a regular person in your stories.
Unless you're the show Supernatural.
Unless you're the show Supernatural, in which case, fuck Supernatural. But we'll get to that in a few minutes. Once upon a time, Michael,
Yes.
there was a gentleman named Jack.
Yeah.
Jack came from a lovely rural Irish town.
What town?
You know.
Pick one.
A lovely rural Irish town. Skibbereen.
Skibbereen. Okay.
In Cork, is it Cork?
Yeah, it's in Cork. Yeah.
Skibbereen in Cork. And Jack wasn't known by Jack to the villagers. He was known as Stingy Jack to the villagers because he had awful long pockets and very short arms, Michael. Awful long pockets and very short arms. Never paid for anything. Couldn't do anything. Just a real stingy son of a bitch.
Stingy Jack.
So one of the evenings, he's sitting there at the bar, drunk out of his mind, with his pals. And his pals said, "Shit, Jesus, Jack is so stingy that they get the devil to pay. You get the devil to pay for his own drinks."
Very good, yeah.
And Stingy Jack said, "I fucking would.
I'll show you now.
I fucking would."
I'll show you now, boys.
In traditional Irish kind of fashion, he somehow the devil hears and comes up to say, "I fucking would not." And anyway, they get into a war of the words, if you will.
Yeah.
And he convinces the devil somehow to transform himself into a coin to pay for the drink. Okay.
Stingy Jack. He's so stingy.
So the devil does it. I think it was something along the lines of, "You couldn't transform. Like, you couldn't be transforming now at all." And the devil said, "I fucking could.
I'll transform into a coin.
Transform into a fucking coin as real as that one there on the table." And he goes, "Okay, grand." So he does it, and he goes to pay for the drink. But Stingy Jack,
What's he do?
long pockets, short arms,
Yeah.
chucks it in his pocket. And what's down there in that pocket?
I'd say
a bloody cross.
It's a cross, is it?
Bloody cross, Michael. So what
Crucifix.
does the devil do?
Is it a bloody cross?
No, it's just a normal cross.
Okay, good.
A regular cross.
Yeah.
With a form of emphasis ahead of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, he chucks it down, and sure, when the devil comes into contact with a cross, Michael, he's stripped of all his power. So the coin sits there in the pocket, and the devil goes, "That fucking son of a bitch."
That's fucking Stingy Jack.
That's fucking Stingy Jack.
I'll get him.
So he sits in the pocket for a year, Michael.
The devil does.
A year.
A year in Stingy Jack's long pocket.
He never puts his hand in his pockets to take coins out.
Exactly, very good.
So, eventually, Stingy Jack goes, "Oh yeah, sure, if the devil in my pocket, I forgot that."
Yeah.
So he makes a deal with the coin. He says, "Look, if I let you out, you're not allowed to touch me for a year. Right? If I die..."
The version I heard was 10 years, but look, we won't argue.
Look, doesn't matter.
We won't argue.
We'll say 10 years. And in the spirit of collaboration, we'll say, "You're not allowed to touch my soul for 10 years. Should I die in these next 10 years? I'm going straight to heaven now."
Straight fuck off, now away from me.
And the devil goes, "Fine, you old bollocks, I'll get you in 10 years.
Yeah, I'll get you.
And he frees him. And the devil's up and away. He goes, "Oh, that fucking Stingy Jack." And he runs off and he goes around the world. Anyway, Jack's grand.
Goes off and makes a deal with Faust.
Not a bother. Yeah, he nips over to another one. And he goes off and he does his own thing for 10 years. And sure, nothing happens. So the devil comes at the end of 10 years and goes, "Oh, I'm going to fucking get you. 10 years are up, bucko. And he goes, Asher, listen to me now, boy. Like, it's grand, no bother. Look, I have one request before I die. And the devil goes, what's your request? Go on, you old bollocks. And he goes, well, listen to me now. There's an apple over there now. There's an apple over there now, and listen to me now. I can't reach up there. I'm too old. I need a hand to get that apple.
Why is he talking like an auctioneer? There's an apple over there.
We don't have unlimited time on this
27
podcast.
euro for the apple. 27 euro for that apple. 20 I see 28
Anyways,
euro
the
for the
devil
apple.
goes, go on, I'll get the fucking apple for you. So
Yeah.
he nips up the tree. And while he's up there, what does fucking Stingy Jack do?
I don't know.
Carves a bloody cross in the tree.
Ah,
So
Jack.
once the devil gets up there, he gets stuck in the fucking tree.
Devil's a bit of an idiot,
Devil's a fucking...
in all fairness. Not the
Devil's an
sharpest.
absolute fucking dope. And he goes, I'm close to death now, so fuck you. I'm going straight to heaven. So anyway, Jack dies.
Yeah.
And he goes on up to heaven there now.
Yeah.
And he gets up to the top of heaven. And God goes, no, you're some fucker. Like,
You're not getting in here.
You're a lion who...
Is God also from Cork?
Yeah,
Right.
well, people from Cork like to think so. You're an awful lion whore now. You can't be going into heaven. You're an awful unscrupulous sort of character altogether now.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jack goes, oh, balls. And he gets sent back down to earth. And he can't die. And he realizes, oh, this is terrible. So anyway, the tree grows over time and the cross kind of gets stuck back. And he comes out.
He gets out, he escapes.
And he says to the devil, oh, look, you can kill me. And he goes, yeah.
Well, he's already dead, isn't he?
Okay. Well, he's kind of half dead. He's stuck in limbo.
In the netherworld.
But what happens is he makes a deal with the devil, and the devil gives him a piece of coal, a single piece of coal, and tells him, go on, wander down that path there, and you'll find your way to one of the afterlives. Only the devil finally did a bit of lying himself there now.
Oh, good lad.
And it turns out that Jack's been walking forevermore, holding that lump of coal in his hand, just wandering around the afterlife forevermore. And the kind of effigy that you build to Jack is the Jack-o'-lantern. Jack of the Lantern.
But you haven't... Oh, the lantern is just a bit of coal. That's not the story I'm
No, come
familiar
on, you
with.
give me your version.
The story I'm familiar with, Ben, he puts the bit of burning coal into a turnip.
Because he can't hold it.
Well, that was the tradition at the time. That's how often Irish people made temporary lanterns.
Jeez, we were awful poor.
You get a bloody turnip, and you'd hollow the bloody turnip out, and you'd put a bit of a candle in it or some such, and then you have your lantern. And that was how the poor made lanterns. And now, Ben, the bloody turnip, of course, not as easy to carve as the pumpkin.
No, it takes a bit of effort.
The North American pumpkin. If you want to see some hideous pumpkin, some hideous carvings, look at a bloody terrifying pumpkin turnip carving. Turnips, Ben, what we call turnips, Americans call rutabagas, which is pretty funny. I know, they're so weird, Americans. What do they
What's
do?
wrong with you, America? Oh, sweet, merciful fucking Christ.
Jesus, Ben, the language this episode.
Michael, that's the first thing that popped up.
Isn't that absolutely terrifying?
That's demonic, Michael.
Isn't it terrifying? I think that's also in the Museum of Country Life in Mayo. It's one of the most terrifying things you'll ever see is a carved turnip. Pumpkins have nothing. Pumpkins have nothing on scariness when it comes to carving a turnip. Ben has become transfixed by scary turnips.
Michael, that was the stuff of nightmares.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So the carved turnip then gave way to the tradition of the carved pumpkin. Because for North Americans, they've got loads of pumpkins.
Pumpkins.
Not as many turnips. Or rutabagas, as they undoubtedly say.
Fucking rutabagas.
Get out of here with your rutabagas. That's a stupid word. It's a Scottish origin word.
Really?
Yeah.
Rutabaga.
Well, root. It's
oh,
a root.
root of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, what are we talking about? So, Ben, think of all your favourite bloody Halloween characters who are pumpkins.
Bloody.
And they all essentially come from the story of Jack, bloody Stingy Jack and his lantern.
Bloody Stingy Jack and his lantern.
Pumpkinhead, who'll famously kill you in a cornfield or a pumpkin field.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
Yeah, he'll get you, and he's inspired by Jack. Even Jack Skellington.
Yeah, Jack Skellington is the Pumpkin King.
He's got a bloody pumpkin head thing going on. Have you seen the Halloween film Trick or Treat?
Which one is that now? You got
Trick or Treat was about 2011.
Is that with the little guy?
Yeah,
and it's
Sam.
An anthology.
His name is Sam.
Yeah,
and it's an
after
anthology.
Sam Hain.
And one of the anthologies is what's her name from True Blood, but she's
Suki.
Yeah, Suki. But she's werewolves in this.
Oh yeah,
Remember,
and she tricks those poor. She's out trying to get the ride all night, and everyone's like, "Oh, why is she trying to get the ride?"
And then people try to kill her, but turns out she's going to get them because she's werewolves.
Because she's bloody werewolf in a bloody pack.
Yeah, so all of those spooky
That's
characters.
a very good series. I enjoy that little series of vignettes.
It's a good movie.
Yes,
I think Sam is the name of the little kid with the pumpkin head.
He's the spirit of Halloween, Michael.
Yeah,
he's a vindictive little spirit of Halloween.
But that's him, and him very much inspired by The
he looks
tale
very
you just
like
told us.
the creepy little children that we see
See-
in old Irish.
See what I'm bloody saying, Ben?
Yeah, see what you're bloody saying. One of the things, probably the reason he's called Sam, Michael, is probably the same reason that I remember watching a particular episode of Supernatural around Halloween.
I think we've talked about this before.
We definitely have, but I'm going to bring it back again, Michael, because oh boy. It gives me some grump.
Now, this of course is the Supernatural, who in their, I believe, second episode pronounced Wendigo as Wendigo.
Wendigo, which is definitely not accurate.
It might be.
I don't think it is, though, is it?
Yeah, it's a North American legend, isn't it? They can pronounce
They can
it
do what they
however
want.
the hell they want with their
Do what they want
rutabagas.
with it. I think it's a Native American legend, though. I don't think it belongs to.
Yeah, that's fine.
Look, doesn't matter. Anyway,
Bloody rutabagas.
bloody watch this thing, and there's a bloody serial killer on the loose, a supernatural serial killer on the loose, doing lots of bloody dangerous stuff. And I remember watching the episode, and he was like, "Oh, it's Sam Hain, Sammy. Sam Hain." And I was like, "What the fuck is Sam Hain?" And he gets going, "Yeah, it's an ancient pagan god, Sammy. We gotta kill it, Sammy. We can't let this thing out there. We gotta gank it, Sammy." Etc., etc., etc. And I was there going, ancient pagan god called Sam Hain. And I was like, because at this time I was fairly up to date on Irish mythology. I was like, I've never heard of Sam Hain. That's gas. I'm going to go find out what that is.
Sam Hain. How would you spell that? S-A-M. Oh my God.
And what bloody Supernatural did, Michael, was they took Samhain, S-A-M-H-A-I-N.
What does sound mean?
Samhain is just the harvest.
What does it mean?
I don't think it has a root word. I'll look it up now for you.
Of course it does.
It probably does. Go on, I'll take a look. And I'll keep spinning my own wheels. Because you wear your thing way deeper in your pocket. It's hard for you to get to.
Yeah, I also don't know where my phone is.
But I remember watching this episode and going, those sons of bitches. Sam Hain, Sammy. And I was like, it's just not it. It's not correct. It's sound. And they just made up a weird god called Sam Hain.
Again, Ben, there's a risk. We've talked about this before, but in the comic book series Hack Slash,
Yes.
there's also a pumpkin-headed serial killer called Samhain.
Really?
Yeah, and he becomes a lover of the main character, Cassie Hack, and is kind of redeemed and then not redeemed in the world of Hack Slash. Everyone, all kind of slashers exist because they've got this evil curse cult power, and he briefly regains control from it. You looking it up? You found it?
Yeah, but there's no direct translation for it.
Oh, really?
It's just the festival. It's the month and the festival. Because we have in Gaelic we have Anar Fiora, Morta Abran, Ul Lunasa, Mina Hauna, Mina Nulloch, yeah, etc. I skipped over a few there, but I was getting to the Man for, Dara for, Mina Hauna, Mina Nulloch. Mina Hauna is November, and we call Halloween Iha Hauna because it's the night of November. But I'm not sure what the direct translation is. It's one of those really old Gaelic words that might not have one.
Benjamin, of course, he's not really an Irish myth, but also, well, you don't even know what I'm going to say yet.
I thought you meant Sam. Oh,
no,
okay.
no,
Sorry.
Sam Hain.
Sam Hain.
It's a bloody month. It's like
Samuel Haines.
Bloody July is coming for us. Oh God! No, sorry, Julie. Get away from us, Julie.
Julie.
Although, aren't a lot of doesn't American Gods do that as well, where they actually meet Easter?
Yeah, well, no, American Gods, the TV series, does that. This concept of Istara, the god of Easter, is not in the book at all.
I like when they meet all the Jesuses.
It's quite funny.
Ben, speaking of Halloween, of course,
yes,
not really an Irish legend, but springing directly from the loins of an Irishman, is bloody Count Dracula.
That's
Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
What's that got to do with Dracula?
Bram Stoker, Michael, bloody Big Daddy Dracula himself. Bram Stoker, famously a bit mental.
Yeah.
Very sickly, bedridden individual when he was younger. And his mother would read him all these different mythologies.
Go on.
Ones that he became particularly fascinated by were Upir, or vampire, from the Slavic folklore. Upir being UPIR, but traditionally in that old script, you see the U as a V. and so the V became much more pronounced as we went along. And then they became the vampire. And he was fascinated, riveted, horrified, etc. Horrifyingly fascinated by all things vampire related. There was a craze a couple of years prior. He would have been in the Victorian period, and there was a big kind of surge of Slavic folklore and vampire scaring, because in that part of the world they would practice, staking the dead and stuff like that to keep them dead. What they actually found out is a lot of the times when people died, they would bloat up or fill with gases and stuff
corpse
like
gas.
that. Yeah, the classic corpse gas.
Yeah.
And what they would see if they left the body for too long is they would see the coffin lid moved or something like this, because the body would move from gaseous eruptions. And so Slavic people got a big old panic, saying, "Oh my God, they're still alive!
That's bloody easy. Put a stake in them."
And if they took a look at the face, often the face would look like it was healthier than it had been the previous time, but that's because the gas was building up and puffing it out a bit. So you weren't getting those sagging kind of rigor mortis cheeks anymore. So there was a whole bunch of reasons for that. It became a bit of a scare because there was a disease that spread around where people...
Sure, isn't that always the way, Ben?
One of those famous diseases,
One of
Michael.
those diseases. Isn't that where all bloody customs come from in the end of the day?
Almost, yeah. Diseases and starvation. Take your pick. All your favourite food is probably poverty food that we used from scraps of animals. Yeah. And all your favourite panics in history are probably disease related. But anyway, that was a whole thing. He listened to these legends, and then he was heavily influenced
by alcohol.
By alcohol, opioids, the whole
Classic,
9 yards.
The writer's gamut.
But he also read another Irishman's account of a sexy lady lesbian vampire.
Oh, very good.
Sheridan Le Fanu wrote a book called Carmilla. I think it's Carmilla, and it's all about the sexy femme fatale lady vampire.
In the bloody in the past, they had lesbians.
In the past, yeah. So hang on, I'll try and get it up for you here. Not that way, Michael. Whoa.
What do you mean?
Sexy lady lesbian vampire. I'll try to get it up for you. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I got it.
Look, anyway, I made my best effort, guys. It's been fun trying to do a podcast for a couple of months.
It's been years,
That's
man.
it. It's
been literally years.
Yeah, so it's Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu. I studied at school. It's about a bloody sexy lady vampire who seduces young virginal women.
And it's not the work of an Irishman.
It's the work of an Irishman, Sheridan Le Fanu. Obviously an Irishman with Huguenot blood, Michael. But it was the work of an Irishman. And it was originally illustrated by David Henry Furston, so there were sexy lady panels that went with it.
Very good.
And it caused a bit of moral panic around Dublin, but Bram Stoker got his hands on it and he was like,
I'm going to make this considerably less sexy.
Considerably less sexy. The sexiest part that remained from Sheridan Le Fanu's work was, of course, the three brides of Dracula, who attempt to seduce Jonathan Harker in his chaste state.
Yeah,
as he
I've got to get to the castle. That's my Keanu Reeves.
I love Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula. Is
that the best Dracula film?
I think it might be.
It might be.
I really enjoyed Van Helsing when I was a teenager.
The one with Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, the one with Hugh Jackman.
Beckinsale.
Huge jacked man.
Yeah.
And Kate Beckinsale. Best in Sale.
Best in Sale. Oh, very good, yeah.
And that had a good Dracula as well. He was a real angry Dracula and he had a big Morphe face thing. But that was just teenage special effects and me going, ooh.
Blade's Dracula wasn't great, was he?
No. What was he? Was that Dave Bautista? I feel like that was Dave Bautista.
Yes, Dave Bautista played Dracula.
Was it Dave? I think it might have been.
Yes, it was. Excellent. Okay, let's wrap it up there, Ben.
What are your favourite holiday traditions when it comes to Halloween? What Halloween traditions did you practice with your family? Who's your favourite Halloween-inspired monster? What will you be doing? Do you do horror-thons with your friends and family as Halloween comes up? Or do you just sit around and then give candy to strangers? Will you be carving a pumpkin or a turnip? Which one will you be carving this year?
Don't carve up turnip, it's terrifying.
It's terrifying, please don't. As always, ladies and gentlemen, you can get in touch with us if you want to give us any comments, any feedback about the episodes. If you'd like to suggest an episode that you'd like to see covered, we're available in a variety of places. Seomrabeag.com, SEOMRABEAG.com.
Means tiny room in Irish.
You're damn right it does. We are on Instagram. We are on Spotify. If you'd like to lison to the other episodes, give us an follow on Spotify.
We're on Instagram, Ben, as Seomrabeag now.
We're on Instagram as Seomrabeag. We've made the switch.
Yeah.
We've made the switch, ladies and gentlemen. It won't affect you very much at all.
No, you won't even know.
But if you're looking for us now on Instagram, it's Seomrabeag. Again, SEOMRABEAG. That's it.
Yeah.
This time.
There's a new logo. It doesn't have any teal in it, but it somehow has the spirit of teal.
And that's Michael being a prick to end the episode. Bye.
Very good.